book haul video, and even I'm surprised by the number of books I seem to be acquiring. Usually what happens is I end up purchasing like 2 or 3 books at a time, and never, like 10 books at a time. So even I'm surprised by the number of books that I seem to have acquired in less than 60 days or something like that. All the books that I'm talking about in this video, I will put them in the description box down below so that you can check them out if you like. The first book I have is The Hidden Figures by Margot Lee Shatterly. I absolutely love the movie in which this Taraji P. Henson. I think that movie is so humorous, it's so empowering, it's so wonderful to see all these women fight for, their place in this society, fight for their right. They're fighting because they know they are worthy of the merit, and they've studied so much and everything, but they still have to struggle to get even a bit of recognition or a bit of credit for the kind of work that they've done. I absolutely love the movie, and if I love the movie, I'm pretty sure I'm going to love the book just as much. In fact, I think I'm going to love the book even more, so that's why I picked it up. The next book I have is Silence, The Power of Quiet in a World Full of Noise. I really wanted to pick up this book because I often find that, with cell phones and laptops, then you have movies, you have music, you have radio, you keep, you're in on your weekends and stuff. We're always meeting up with friends or with family. I always wonder, where do you find time just for yourself? Even if you're going for a walk or something, you always have earphones in. Like, when do you find the time to just sit alone with your mind not occupied with anything external but the thoughts that are going on in your head? And because I was thinking along these lines, I thought that this is a book that would, maybe help me further explore that line of thought. The next book that I have is Blindness by Jose Saramago. I recently read The Diary of a Bookseller by Sean Bythell, and this is one of the books that was mentioned in his book. And this book it sounded really interesting to me. This is a dystopian society where I think blindness is a communicable disease, and slowly by slowly everybody in the city becomes blind, and how on account of this blindness an entire society of people turn into chaos, madness, crime, and things like that. So it sounds like a pretty interesting read. The next book that I have is a collection of short stories, and I was extremely surprised to see that it is written by Tom Hanks. I'm really interested in reading this book. I had no idea that Tom Hanks had written any book at all, and I have a feeling there's going to be some unusual stories in this book, because I feel Tom Hanks would be the type of writer, who notices the little details or, the bizarre stuff, and he's going to put his own twist on it. So I'm really looking forward to reading these books, these short stories. The next book that I have is A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Tolls. I'm currently reading this book, and as you can see, I'm almost done with this book. I think I have the last 100 pages or so left, and I already know that I'm going to give this book 5 stars because I'm absolutely in love with this book. This book is humorous, it's very well written, it is very insightful, it's making me question so many things, and it is such a simple story. Like, if I have to put it down, there's nothing extremely exciting or, very dramatic that happens in this book, yet everything that happens, every small thing that happens in this book is so charming. It's described in such a beautiful way, and that makes you feel that, a change in perception can make you live such a different life. I really like this book a lot. The next book I have is When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. I think I saw this on YouTube a bunch of times, and when this was on Amazon, I picked it up because of that reason. This book is about a young neurosurgeon who becomes diagnosed with terminal cancer, and, from becoming a doctor, being on this side, of healing patients and treating patients for these kind of diseases, he suddenly finds himself as a patient suffering from this kind of illness, and this is his story. I'm really curious about this story, but to be honest, I started reading this a while back, and I think I dropped it after reading the first 100 pages. I don't know, I just couldn't get into it. but I do want to finish this book, and hopefully I will in this month. The next two books are by the same writer, that is Italo Calvino. This one is the complete Cosmi Comics, and the other one is Italian Folk Tales. I've read, I think, one of those Penguin mini classics or something, which contained three of the short stories of the Cosmi Comics, and I think they were absolutely wonderful. They were so funny, they were so bizarre, they were crazy, they were about aliens, they were about space, and somehow all of that was then connected with humanity. I thought they were absolutely brilliant, and because I liked those tiny stories so much, I decided to purchase the entire Cosmi Comics. I haven't started reading it yet, but I think I'm going to start it very, very soon. I decided to purchase the Italian folktales because I really liked Italo Calvino's writing style, and also because I'm interested, to read more about the folktales of different people, because that is such an essential part of their culture, I feel. And more often than not, you find so many similarities in the folktales of different countries, and that in itself is so interesting. The next book I have is Pachinko by Min Ji Lee. This is another case of, I think, YouTube made me buy it because I've been hearing about this book a lot. I think this is a story of a Korean family who migrates to Japan, and it's like a multi-generational story of this Korean family. I love South Korea, I love Japan, and the cover is so beautiful. I think all these reasons are more than sufficient to buy this book. The next book I have is The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. I'm extremely curious to read this book because I have recently been making certain changes in my life, or rather I've been trying to make a few changes in my life, and I'm realizing that it's not so easy, especially after such a long time, to suddenly change a few things that you've been doing for years and years and years. And I hope that this book is going to help me realize that, because I think we all need it sometimes. We all realize that we need to change certain habits of ours which are not really productive, or sometimes they're downright negative, those habits, or they're not helping us in any way at all. And it's not always easy to change something or change the way we've been doing things for a very long time. So I'm really looking forward to reading this book. I've talked about this before, that usually I end up purchasing like 2 books or 3 books a month, and never like such a huge amount of books at one go. And it is starting to scare me because I'm acquiring books like 10 books or 12 books each month, and I'm reading like 5 books or 6 books each month. And if I keep going at this rate, I'm always going to have more books on my shelf which are not read, and my TBR pile is just going to keep piling and piling on top of each other. I cannot have that. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to put myself on a book buying ban, and hopefully I'm going to track it very diligently this time. I'm not going to purchase anything from the 1st of September till the 31st of December, and I'm planning on finishing most of the books that are on my shelf right now, so that my TBR pile is reduced, and when the new year comes along, I can buy all the books that I want. I don't know how it's going to go. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where people talk about book buying bans, and then the very next video you see is a book haul video. I hope that doesn't happen with me, but I really want to do this because I have simply too many books on my shelf right now that I haven't read, and I'm still on Amazon all the time, looking for new books to read, or I'm checking out BookTube or Instagram for new books to read, and it's just not a good way to go about it. From the 1st of September till the 31st of December, I am not going to purchase a single book. Let's see how that goes. Thanks for watching.